What's up, everyone? Today we're going to do a quick review and a little talk about the movie I saw at Sundance this year, XX, a horror anthology. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. Alright, so Sundance is great, and unfortunately, I was only able to see one movie this year due to financial constraints. I'm broke. But it was a really hard decision. When tickets went live, I was right there waiting in the queue for the local Utah sales, jumping back and forth between deciding what to watch. I kind of wanted to pick one that I didn't think would get a wide release, and so I picked XX because it was a little lesser known horror anthology, and the other movies I was considering were, pretty big budget, had a lot of big stars, things like that, so you almost always know that they're going to come out in a couple months anyways. So that brings me to XX. It's a horror anthology that has 4 short little films, and they were written and directed by 5 women, which is really awesome. It's kind of the first anthology of its kind. Make sure I pronounce all these correctly. You have Roxanne Benjamin. You might actually know her work from VHS and VHS 2, where she helped direct and directed some. So I really enjoyed those movies, so I was stoked once I learned that. Sophia Carrillo, Karyn Kusama, pretty cool name. Saint Vincent, which it is her directorial debut, so that's really cool as well. And then Jovanka Vuckovic. Jovanka and Roxanne were actually at the Salt Lake showing, so that was also really cool. They talked about the films a little bit before, and then we watched the movie. So I'm going to break this review down by each short, because I feel like that's kind of how you have to do it, and then at the end I'll give my thoughts overall. So I don't think I'm going to do them in order. I just wrote them down. So Birthday Party was actually one of my favorite. It's kind of about a woman, and she is frantically preparing for her daughter's birthday party, and something really bad happens. But she chooses to push through it and continue on with the party, even though she probably shouldn't. This one is actually really funny and kind of twisted at the same time. So if you have that dark sense of humor, then you'll really enjoy this one. After some thought, I think it's actually my favorite of the 4 short films in the series. It was just really good, and I'm glad that it was part of it and that I watched it. I don't want to give away too much, so just know that one is one to look forward to for sure. Next is Her Only Living Son. This one, I feel like it's kind of hard to describe without giving it away too much. There is a mother and her son, and they kind of live alone, and weird things are going on with the son as his 18th birthday comes close. This one is kind of one of those ones that builds up really slowly and then pays off at the end. It's not really, I wouldn't really call it a horror. I would say it's more kind of on the thriller side of things, if you have to say things like that. It was pretty good. It was not one of my favorite of the 4, but it was definitely worth a watch. So next we have The Box, which was actually the first film that played, now that I remember it. It's actually a really cool story. There's a family, and they're on a train system, and there's a guy with a box. The little son asks what's in it. He shows the son, and then from that moment on, it just goes downhill. The son stops eating, and then it just continues and continues. A lot of these are, I would say 3 out of the 4 are movies that kind of build up to it, and then at the end they have a payoff, and then it all comes together. I guess except for maybe Birthday Party, it's you kind of know what's going on from the start. So, correcting myself, 2 out of 4 of them. I don't want to give away too much because it's kind of a build up, and then at the end you're like, interesting. Which those movies are really good. I feel like horror these days is just jump, scare, boo, and movies that make you think and kind of pose questions and have a build up a little slower are what I personally see as very awesome. So The Witch, which came out recently, loved it. Blair Witch Project kind of mixed both. You kind of have your jump scares, you kind of have your build up as well. So it was a good mixture. But the best example is The Babadook. Amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. So back to these. The box, I think I accidentally missed something in the movie that kind of ruined it for me. I think with a little tweaking, it could have clarified it, and it would have been less confusing, and it would have made it all the more better. So other than that, I did like it. It was a really cool concept, and once again, it made you think at the end, which is really good for a horror. So the last one on the list is The Fall. And this one was, I think, the creepiest and most horror-like of them all. Three people go out into, like hiking in the desert in this remote location. There's no one around. They just have a little trailer. There's actually 1 or 2 actors in it that I recognized. Totally forgot to look them up. I'm terrible with names. But if you look up XX on IMDb, I'm sure you can find out who they are. It might drive you to want to see this some more. But this one, I feel like the makeup and the creature that they created and just everything was really good in this one. So for me, it was the best, like, horror kind of creepy feeling film out of the 4. But with that said, I still think Birthday Party was my favorite, just because it was hilarious, it was twisted, it was just great. So if I had to give the overall experience a rating out of 5, I might say like 3 out of 5. But with that said, I definitely think it's worth watching to see which of the 4 you like the most. It's gonna be like VHS. There's some people who like this story more. There's some people who like this story more. So you just have to see for yourself. That being said, I think this one is more suited to come to Netflix, or it's gonna come on DVD. I would love to see it get a wide release, but I'm not sure that's gonna happen. And that's totally fine, because these movies sometimes are best, just done in that way. There's a lot of risk involved doing a wide release and blah blah blah. Don't really need to get into all of that. So unfortunately, that was the only Sundance movie I was able to purchase a ticket to. I really did enjoy it, and it was great to see 2 of the directors here in Salt Lake. If you've seen the movie or you saw any other Sundance films, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought, so I know what to look forward to when they come out on DVD or wide release, or however they are released, if they do get released. As well, please subscribe if you enjoyed this video or others, and leave a like. Thanks, everyone.